just wait for some people to get on live. And the boss Melvin Begg of the Wireless Festival has just released a statement about Kanye West performing, and it's all over the news, as many of you have seen. And I'm actually going to read the statement because it's an important one, and then comment a bit after that. Let me just pull it up. I'll read it in its totality. So, breaking news: Wireless Festival will keep Kanye West as its headliner despite sponsors pulling out. Melvin Ben, the managing director of the festival, says this: I'm a deeply committed anti-fascist, and I have been all my adult life. I lived on a kibbutz for many months in the 1970s and was attacked on October 7th. I am pro-Jew and Jewish state, while being equally committed to a Palestinian state. Having had a person in my life for the last 15 years who suffers from mental illness, I've witnessed many episodes of despicable behavior that I've had to forgive and move on. If I wasn't before, I have become a person of forgiveness and hope in all aspects of my life, including work. What Ye has said in the past about Jews and Hitler is as abhorrent to me as it is to the Jewish community. The Prime Minister and others have commented and taken him to his word, to Ye also. Let me repeat that. The Prime Minister and others that have commented and taking him to his word, to Ye now also. Ye's music is played on commercial radio stations in this country. It is available via live stream downloads in this country without comment or vitriol from anyone. And he has a legal right to come into the country and perform in this country. He is intended to come in and perform. We're not giving him a platform to extol opinion or whatever nature, only to perform the songs that are currently being played on radio stations in our country and the streaming platforms in our country and listened and enjoyed by millions. Forgiveness and giving people a second chance and is becoming a lost virtue in this ever-increasing divisive world. And I ask people to reflect on this instant, on the comments of disgust at the likelihood of him performing, as was mine, and offer some forgiveness and hope to him as I. So that's a statement from Melvin Begg, who is the top man at the Wireless Festival, which I have to be honest, I'm surprised that I thought with the big sponsors, they would, and the Prime Minister, it getting to this level. If you Google statements I've made in the past, I gave up on Kanye, I have to say. And for a long time I hadn't. For a long, long time, I was, mental health. But the last album, the last thing he did where he was selling Nazi merchandise, like the intentionality, it wasn't just a tweet, it was, and making, big music videos that were just, have a look at what he did at that time. It's one thing to have an episode, it's another thing to have a prolonged, and what he was doing, and he's apologized for it. But as someone that shaped the culture in the way he has, it is not easy for me to walk away from it. But all sorts of other issues that go beyond anti-Semitism, him, I just had to walk away and cherish the memories and the music of a man that has shaped the culture, but it's not someone I'm going to ever be celebrating. And I remember when it started with Candace Owens and the damage that did to the Black community in particular. It's something I haven't forgotten. And I mean real damage. It made people less safe. So the Kanye thing, as we say in Niger, is deeper. It's deep. But it looks like Wireless is standing by him, and they believe in forgiveness. Melvin is, I believe, a Jewish man if he grew up in a kibbutz or spent time in a kibbutz. And he's taken it upon himself to allow him to perform, which is fine, and there is a larger conversation about how long does one get cancelled for? Does one ever get to be able to um, seek atonement, redeemment, or, employment? I mean, Kanye is almost a billionaire. I don't think he needs to be gainfully employed for money, but many people that have been cancelled do need to survive. What is that conversation? And it's something that's ongoing, but this guy took it far. Have a look at some of the things this man has said. It is a lot. And it's damaged many communities, women, Black people, Jewish people. It is a lot, and if people don't mind that and they want to, keep listening to his music and go, that is their prerogative. And I think we're going to see how this plays out. But for me, he broke my heart and I had to walk away. It's a personal choice, but he ain't my guy. I'm sorry. So it's an interesting, it's a really, and I know he did a sold out concert that looked extraordinary with Lauryn Hill and he's, maybe he's on a path of redemption and the Kanye of old will be back. But, as I said, he went very, very far. But I want the same energy for anti-racists. Sorry, not anti-racist. I want the same energy for fascists, bigots. I want the same energy for people that are anti-Muslim, anti-Black, that are very high profile. The same energy. When it goes all the way up to the prime minister. If we're going to do it for one community, let's make sure that we have that same response in the same corridors of power in our press for people with big influences like Kanye, that are a danger to the Black community, that are a danger to women, that are a danger to Muslim people. And there are many. Let's keep that energy equal and consistent, because that would be parity. That's how it should be. I think about the amount of anti-Muslim statements I'm seeing all over the place from all sorts of people. People with prime time slots in America just saying just bigotry. And then you got the manosphere dudes who are anti-Semitic, misogynoir within the misogyny. Bigoted boys in men's bodies, and they're traveling all around the world. They haven't been deplatformed. They shouldn't be on the internet. So let's just have that same energy across all groups. People that attack the queer and trans community, they can just do it willy-nilly. So it's, and many of these communities I'm talking about have particularly vulnerable people, like severe mental health challenges, because to exist for many of these folks is a daily challenge. Yet powerful men seem to be able to build their platforms on bigotry and hate and the Andrew Tate of it all, the Sneeko of it all. I mean, there's so many. And our press, there has been no accountability for the racism, the misogyny, misogynoir, the anti-queer, anti-trans sentiment, and of course the crazy anti-Muslim sentiment that's been in our press for a decade. And it gets to a point where we lose people, in terms of, people that are no longer, Caroline Flack is no longer here. The press played its part in that. So let's have that same energy. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And what Kanye has done is wrong. And in my view, I'm sorry, he ain't for me. Others can make their choice, but we need that same energy across the board. Cheers. It's a quick live stream. But I had to just read that out. And everyone can decide on it. I think it's a very, very interesting time for what does cancel culture mean today? So I've got to sign off. I'll be on again soon. Laters.